that stuff. I think everyone just really sort of rallied together. Um, Let me just also add in that we also knew that not everyone from Good Shepherd would automatically come to St. Mary's, and that was okay. As a pastor, I was okay with the fact that not everyone was going to make that mile and a half journey from Good Shepherd to St. Mary's. We didn't want to see them leave the church. So we actually reached out to other parishes in the area. And of course, we're in New England, so there's churches everywhere. So we reached out to the other Catholic churches in the area and said, listen, would you be interested in hosting an open house for some parishioners from Good Shepherd who might not feel like comfortable at St. Mary's? Some of them were looking for smaller communities of faith and ended up at other parishes. And that was perfectly fine. We wanted to be able to accommodate people and where they felt that God was calling them to continue worship.
Hmm. Earlier, you mentioned things like fall fairs and wanting to preserve some of that. I'm sure things even came up with unique ministries that some parishes have, especially as many parishes share resources. You mentioned in New England, there's so many parishes that it becomes a little bit easier to do that. How did you strike that balance of preserving some of the traditions and ministries from the parishes that ultimately closed down, while not necessarily saying yes to everything and overwhelming the schedule and what's going on at St. Mary's?
Sure, yeah. Uh, Years ago, I remember asking parishioner leaders of parish ministries to answer this particular question, which was, how does this make disciples? Um, I just felt that, Jesus founded the church and gave it a very direct mission of going and making disciples. And so, therefore, we in the church, everything we do has to be directed towards that aim of making disciples. And I wanted every ministry to be able to answer that with intentionality, right? You can say, you know what, we're just having the youth group for pizza and movie night. I have no problem with that. I think that's great. But I wanted the leaders to know, why do we do that? Right? You need to be able to answer, how does that make disciples? And you can do that. You can say, well, doing something like that helps us to form greater bonds of relationship with young people, which then opens them to the possibility of sharing faith. So you can say that. But the key thing was about